Okay, sorry about that. All right, so now here we go. So hello and welcome this morning to this Open Ideas Exchange for January, going over the just-in-time process for current and pending, just-in-time process for NIH specifically, and current and pending support. So today we are going to cover what is JIT, or just-in-time, the overview of the NIH just-in-time process, and the other support information and document, which is a document that is used for NIH, but it is also used in other agencies as well. And then the ORSP, how we work with NIH for the just-in-time procedures and process. And then I'm going to show you how to download a current and pending support report, which can be used for NIH and other funding agencies that request this information. And then we will open the floor up for questions and other items. So what is just-in-time? Just-in-time is a process that is used to gain additional information when an application is being considered for an award. This is not a notice of award. So just because a just-in-time notice goes out, that does not guarantee that that particular award, that particular proposal will be funded. The information submitted includes other support for all senior and key personnel on the project with measurable effort, IRB approval, if applicable, for that proposal, and IOCOOC approval, if applicable, and then evidence of compliance with protection of human research participants. This notification comes through as an email, and the electronic submission is through the ERA Commons by ORSP. So the overview. When an application falls within a certain percentile or priority score, it will trigger an automatic email through the ERA Commons system as a just-in-time request for additional information. Sometimes a particular program officer, program director will reach out to that PI and request this information, and then that sometimes happens outside that normal system. But those are sometimes for specific award and program announcements that this happens. So the system email is sent to the PI. So for multi-PI projects, it's the contact PI, the sponsor programs administrator that facilitated and ultimately signed off on that grant submission, and then the institutional ARR, which for us, our executive director of ORSP. This other support document is required to be submitted for all named senior and key personnel on the project, along with approvals for IRB and IOCOOC. This submission is expected no later than 60 days before the expected project start date. And as part of the submission, this is newer, and this is causing a little bit of a confusion for some PIs, is that an electronic signature is required for each senior key person submitting this other support document. So for ORSP, when we receive the email, the sponsor programs administrator that worked with that PI will reach out to that PI. When the PI is ready to begin this process, they will communicate and work collaboratively with the sponsored programs administrator. We want to remember that this is a collaborative process, with the PI taking more of the lead role and the reins and getting this submitted. However, our office has the authority to submit these, and we have to submit them. The PIs cannot submit them on their own. The sponsor program administrator will pull the proposal file, verify all the senior key personnel in the grant, and any sub-award collaborators. If it's a sub-award, the SPA will reach out to that contact for their information and to get for their COI to initiate that other support document information. The PI and each senior key personnel will complete the other support document to the best of their knowledge and information at the time of this processing, and the SBA will verify this information. Once this information has been completed and finalized, and the IOCOOC IRB information confirmed, again, if applicable, the SBA will compile the other support documents into a single file and submit these. So this is the other support template that can be used. While the NIH does not give a specific required template, this is truly the recommended template. Now, what is considered other support? Other support is any federal, non-federal, commercial, or institutional funds that are available to that PI or senior key personnel in direct support of their research. This includes all resources made available to research in support of and or related to all of their research endeavors, regardless of monetary value, and regardless of if it happens at the research institution. This is also to include foreign support. So if there's any support coming from foreign entities, this has to be included on this document. Consulting agreements are supposed to be included on this document if these consulting agreements fall outside of that PI's or senior key personnel's existing appointment. And in addition to in-kind support. What is excluded are gifts. Gifts are excluded. So essentially any projects need to go on here where there is effort involved. And if you understand the process, what NIH is looking for is that they're really looking to make sure that a PI or a senior key person is not overcommitted. So on this form, what they're looking for, again, other formats can be used, but this particular template contains all of the information that NIH is looking for. So they're looking for the title, the major goals of that project, the status of the support. So if it's active or current, if it's active or pending, the project number. So if it's a currently funded project, that's a grant award number. If it's been a submitted grant, there's still a grant number that comes through. So if it's anything through any federal agencies, there will be a project number associated with that. The name of the lead PI on that project, the source of support, the primary place of performance, the project proposal start date, the total award amount. This is where it differs from in the past, where they were looking for the total award amount. They are looking for the total award, including your indirect costs, not just a project period. And then the person months. And so for a currently active award, you're not putting down the expected amount, you're putting down what the award amount is in that award notification. So, and then in kind, it's similar information that they're looking for. So through grants.nih.gov, there is a sample template, and you show how the PI listed this out. And so you see that they have an active award where they're PI on. Here they have an award that they're on, and there's a differing PI for them. And they list their pending support as well. And then they have in kind. There is a discrepancy here where they have a signature, and that is not how NIH wants it. And again, it could pass the test, but it could not pass the test. So it's always better to just make sure you have that electronic signature. And we do have directions of how to complete an electronic signature. So if PDF is not someone's forte, we have directions on how to complete this through Adobe. So for current and pending, so what the SBA will do, or the PI can do this as well, is that we will download a current and pending support. And that is how we verify what the PI has in their other support document. So if you go into quality research, you go to common tasks, you click on current and pending support. It will show reports. This screen will pop up. You click on this. You enter in the PI's name. Dr. German has said that we can pull up her current and pending. So I went ahead and did that. And you're going to click on return value. So I went through that process and did that. And this is what we came up with And then you get to the next screen and you click print for each report that you want. So this is the current report, current support for Dr. German, and this is what it looks like. You're going to have your sponsor award ID, and so this is what the number will be that you'll use for your project number that they want on the other support document. You have the sponsor, you'll have the role. So KP is key person, PI is, principal investigator, and then there's also a distinction for co-I. There will also be your calendar year effort on the far right screen. And, this should be accurate because these are current awards. But again, this is a collaborative process. So if it's not correct, effort could have changed as other grants came in and we just did not get a chance to update our award record. So again, that's where it's a collaborative process with the PI and working with that senior key person to make sure that we've got the correct information. And they want this in months. So you would just have to convert these numbers into months. But you'll have your project title, the total direct, the FNA, which is the indirect, and then the award amount. And then the effective end date is, project start date, project end date. So that's what the current report looks like. And the pending report is similar, except this proposal number is not what would go on the form. This is our internal quality proposal number. So again, that grants number, we would have to pull it from another source, and we can certainly pull that information for you if we have it. So you see the distinction where there's a co-I on here, and then you see the effort and your total direct cost, FNA, and then your total request and your project start date. Now, one caveat on the pending support is that these are only as accurate as if we know the existing status of these pending awards. So for NIH, they don't give out decline notices or rejection notices or anything like that. They send them out and they tend to be 2 years behind. So the only way we know is when we have a just in time come through and we can sort of look at dates and verify if that is a project that was not reviewed or it just was not funding. And then we can update these records. And again, as a collaborative process, a lot of times PIs will say, oh, that wasn't funded. The other ones that we aren't going to necessarily know is when we're a subcontract on grants. A lot of times sponsors don't communicate back with us that something wasn't funded. We only will hear if something was funded. So again, this is where this is sort of a collaborative process and PIs are communicating with us and updating us on status of their awards, because a lot of times they will know before we know of these awards. And that is really our process. It's pretty, I think it's pretty simple for the most part, and it has changed. It can be time consuming. I think Becky and I, we talked about how much time we spend on these. And I think we said it can be anywhere between 8 to 10 hours for just one just-in-time request. Something else to note is that we can submit multiple times. So if a PI is on it and wants to submit 30 days before that 60-day mark, we can go ahead and submit. If, say, another award comes in, and we want to, and that other support should be updated, we can update that and submit another support document. We can also submit the other support if we're waiting for an IACUC or IRB approval, and then submit that separately. I like to just wait till we have everything, as long as we're not running up too close to that 60-day deadline. It's pretty fluid. And at this stage in the process, it's truly a collaborative relationship and process between the PI, the SBA, and NIH, and that program director, because at this point, if it is more on the likelihood of being funded, they want to make sure that you get that funding and get access to that. And this is an important step in making sure that that this PI is eligible for this funding and that the effort is appropriate for that pending award and it doesn't conflict or there isn't too much overlap with other funding that they have for that research. That's really the purpose of the other support document and this just-in-time process, and to just make sure that all approvals have happened before this is funded. Because once they send out an award and fund it, it's a lot more complicated to take something back. So they're just trying to prevent all of that. And I don't know if Becky wants to add in anything, because she's worked on Just in Times a lot more than I have. So I don't know if she has anything to add in, any tips, tricks, or points.
So I know that you mentioned using the current and pending support, that information that we have in Koali. And I just want to encourage people to look at that. They can look at it anytime. And if there are pending, excuse me, if there are pending proposals that they know aren't funded, let us know. And we're happy that we want to clean it up, because when it's not cleaned up, and that's when it takes us 8 to 10 hours to just to review every single one. And then we have faculty members or staff and faculty that fill it out, and they just are like, oh, I think I know this. And if you have funding, we've had some concerns, because there are some faculty members that get funding through the NeoMed Foundation. And if you get NeoMed Foundation funding and it's for a research project, it has to be recorded in your other support document. So really, because we don't have that information, the PI or whoever's completing the form and the NeoMed Foundation have to work collaboratively to make sure that information is accurate as well. And the other thing I want to say is for the signature of the other support form, it's the certified signature that you have to have, because there's in an Adobe, there's a really simple way to just sign it, and they do not accept wet signatures or anything other than that Adobe certified signature. So yeah, we have instructions on our website on how to do that. And also on the NIH website, there's a web page for converting effort from percentage to person months. So it can walk you through that. But if you have 12 months and you have 10% effort, that would be 1.2 months. So, but not everybody's brain works the same way as mine. So I automatically see that. And other people are like, I'm not sure how to do that. So NIH does have a page that, has a formula and can walk you through that. And I think that is all I had from your presentation. And thank you, Angelina. I really appreciate that we're doing these trainings and putting them on our website. So because what we've been in the past, we were doing it one-on-one. And so if it's taking me 10 hours or 8 hours to get this document together, and I'm working with somebody and we have 30 of them a year, that's a lot of time to do that. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Are there any other questions from the greater good? So I answered everything? No questions? Any other general questions, pre-award questions or post-award questions? Sarah, do you have, not to put you on the spot, you're newer. Do you have any questions that you can think of that maybe we could answer that are just, off the top of your head?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I don't right now. I was able to attend last month's ORSP open meetings too, and I appreciate them. They're very helpful. And while I don't currently have any NIH grants, that could change in a moment, just notice, right?
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
so I'm attending these to just continue to gather more information on it for the future too.
Good, awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention is that the National Science Foundation collects their current and pending support at the proposal stage, and they have a document that a template to use for that as well. And so it's kind of while looks a little bit different, it's the same information. So yeah. So we have a few NSF proposals or awards here.
Yeah. And there's been talk of NSF changing that to similar to an NIH I don't know if that will ever happen. It would be great if it did, because a lot of times they end up asking for an updated current and pending support anyways, right before that award is made and right before they allow you to start spending. So it's like, we got to redo this work. Can you just ask it when you're going to make the award?
Right, right.
So
I also want to ask people if there's something, if you have an area and that you would like some more information shared with you about, we're always looking for good topics for our Open Ideas Exchange. So feel free to email us and then we'll make sure that we get that as one of our presentations.
yeah, definitely. Please let us know.
And this recording and the slides will be uploaded to our website. Well, I don't know, soon.
As soon as they get to them.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no other questions, I will get everyone 34 minutes back of their day, which is great. So I'm glad that everyone was able to come again. If you have any questions about, this other support document or current and pending, or there's grants that come through and the funder is asking, or the sponsor, or if there's current funding and they're asking, for your current and pending support, reach out to us, email us, and we can help you through that process and work through that. So it's sponsored/programs@neomed.edu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.